See, I told you we were going to do a whole bunch of these Galaxy Note 10 Plus videos. I got a bunch of things in mind. Today, we're going to take a look at the Galaxy Note 10 Plus versus the Galaxy Note 9, and which one you should buy. Or if you have the Note 9 already, should you get the Note 10 Plus? We'll talk about all those things right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name is Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything we talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So all last year I was talking about the Galaxy Note 10, which is now the 10 Plus, because let me just tell you now, don't buy the regular Galaxy Note 10. And talking about how it was going to be the premier phone. Now, little did I know it was going to be so ridiculously expensive, which means you have to understand if it's a phone that's right for you. And in the comments from my last video, I got a bunch of questions about if people have certain phones, should they get the Galaxy Note 10 Plus? And for some people, the answer may be yes, and for some, no. I figured I would take out first the Galaxy Note 9 and kind of put it up against it and see if you have the Galaxy Note 9, should you go to the Galaxy Note 10 Plus? Or if you don't have either, which one you should buy. So here they are, the Galaxy Note 9 and the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Thing's a mouthful. I've said this thing wrong like 16 times already. It's ridiculous. Can't we just go back to the Note 9 and Note 10? But just, here's the thing, don't get the Note 10. It's not the phone you want. The Note 10 Plus, maybe, but not the Note 10. First, let's start off with the Note 9, the 2018 phone of the year. I think most tech reviewers would agree with that. This thing's amazing. It's a beautiful phone, 6.4-inch screen, which I remember once when they first announced that, it seemed like a really big screen, and it's not even nearly as big as the Note 10 Plus. With an amazing camera array, a great fingerprint sensor on the back, and something that most of you are gonna love, a headphone jack. It also had the controversial Bixby button. However, you could map it to other things. There was either apps or later in some software updates, they allow you to map it to certain things, not other smart assistants, but I have mine mapped to the camera, so that's actually pretty convenient. This phone has worked incredibly well for me. I've been super happy with it. I've had it for over a year since launch day, and it's never failed me. It's always gotten me through an entire day's worth of battery life, which is incredibly important, and it's just been amazing. Now, here's the thing. I use Samsung Pay on this thing. I had smartwatches connected to it, Bluetooth speakers, everything. I put this thing through the paces. The only thing I didn't do a lot with it, to be perfectly honest, is use DeX. We're going to talk about DeX here in a little bit. But this thing is basically a small computer in your pocket. In America, you get the Snapdragon 845, which is last year's premier processor. You get Exynos everywhere else in the world. But it's a great processor. Now, for the people in Europe, I know that that processor didn't do as well, especially in the battery life department, as the 845, but in general, you're still getting excellent performance. Now, the Note 9 can be bought for pretty inexpensive now. Now, everything's relative, but you can catch these on sales pretty easily now. Some people are getting rid of them to get their newest Note, the Note 10 or Note 10 Plus. Some have actually already gotten rid of theirs to get the S10 earlier in the year, or whatever the case may be. There's even sales on brand new ones. So this becomes a really interesting prospect, a really interesting phone to be able to pick up in the late 2019 for not so bad amount of money. And to be honest, that's really what's going to lead this competition. Let's talk a little bit about some of the specs and what the differences are between the two, and I'll tell you why you would buy one over the other, because it's not just a blanket answer. It's not just yes, you should buy the Note 9 or yes, you should buy the Note 10 Plus. It's kind of a maybe. First of all, there's a size difference, which is interesting. When you put these together, which I'll show you close up, the Note 10 Plus is obviously bigger. The screen is bigger, but what's interesting is it's much wider, which I didn't expect. It's quite a bit wider when you put these two together. While it doesn't look like a lot on camera, when you hold it in your hand, it's quite a bit. And considering this is an $1,100 phone before tax, ended up being about $1,200 after tax. If you put a case on this thing, which you probably should, it's a lot of money, this thing actually becomes really big. And for people with small hands, that might be something that you might not like. These are large phones to begin with, but this is just even larger than the Note 9. So if the Note 9 was too much for you, this is just not, you can forget about this. But back to the Note 9, even with a case on this thing has always felt really good in the hands. Ladies, you know the procedures. Shout out to Flossie. So carrying it around has never been a problem. It's very pocketable. And again, with all the different cases that I've ever used on this thing, it's never been an issue. It's never felt too big. As a matter of fact, with a case on it, it felt better. This thing felt really thin when it came out. Ironically, it's quite a bit thicker than the Note 10 Plus, but it really feels perfectly sized. And after having played around with the Note 10 Plus, I actually, believe it or not, prefer the feel of the Note 9. Now I'm all about that screen life, so I actually prefer the larger screen of the Note 10. But for most people, this is gonna be all the more phone they're gonna want. Also, it's uninterrupted. Sure, it's got a little bit of a head and a chin, but this screen is completely uninterrupted, unlike the booty hole on the Note 10. Next thing, battery life. This thing has always gotten me through the day, like I said before. Never had a problem. Over 4,000 milliamps of power in this thing. Now, if you're buying a used one, there's gonna be some cycles on it, and that may limit your battery life. That's why I don't really like to talk a lot about how long or how much screen on time I get. It's not equal. Depending on where you are and what kind of SIM you have and your phone and your Bluetooth and all the things, your numbers can vary widely. As a matter of fact, I've rarely hit any kind of screen on time that I've seen in any reviews, almost never. Needless to say, you should be able to get through an entire day pretty easily. And if you can't, there is fast charging on this thing. And then within just about 15 minutes, you should definitely be able to get through your entire day. And for me, ultimately, that should be all that you need to know. That perhaps you might need to juice up once if you're using this thing like a savage. Otherwise, you're gonna get through pretty well. And the cameras are great. Now, the cameras between these two, I wanna show you a couple samples here in a minute. Just hang tight for that. But it's great. It works really well across most lighting environments. And I don't know, it's never been a thing where you think, oh, the cameras on Samsung phones are bad. It's just not a conversation that comes up. And lastly, speed. This thing is fast. The 845 still munches down on this thing. With 6 gigs of RAM, there's more than enough for your operating system to get in here and a bunch of multitasking things. But here's the thing. After using the Galaxy 10 Plus, I noticed that this felt a little sluggish. So what I did on both of these, and I shouldn't have to do this, is I turned off the animations. There's little settings you can change on both of these to make the animations faster. As a matter of fact, even the Note 10 felt a little sluggish compared to another phone that I won't name right now because people seem to get upset when I do. But once you turn them off, this thing zips. Actually, they both do. Having said that, they also feel a little bit chunky in doing so. They feel very kind of, I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. Now, I had someone in my comments a while back say that the Galaxy Note 9 looked a little bit better on the screen than the Note 10 Plus. I look at them side by side, they look exactly the same to me. Maybe a little bit better here on the Note 10 Plus. I do not see the Note 9 looking better, so I don't know if that was just a weird thing that someone saw, but personally, I think the Note 10 barely edges out the Note 9 as far as the screen quality, but they're both amazing displays. Which brings me to the Note 10 Plus. This thing is a beast. Size-wise, like I said, you put a case on this thing and it's a monster. But the speed on this thing is legit. The 855 crushes everything. Plus, with 12 gigs of RAM, you can just have all your apps open, just every single one. And they launch fast, man. You click on that thing once it's been loaded, and it's like it's already there. It's crazy how fast it is. But again, I had to turn the animations off to kind of see that. I noticed when I used to pull down the notification shade that it seemed like it took half a second, like a little half a step or something. After I changed the animations to off, it just is quick. But it does feel kind of jerky, just a little bit. And of course, now you got a couple different cool tricks on this one that you don't have on the Note 9. You have reverse wireless charging. If you have some wireless earbuds or something like that that take wireless charging, that might be a benefit to you. You now have the one thing in cameras that actually makes this better than the Note 9, the wide angle. Let's just be honest, there's so many situations that you need a wide angle camera. Most people don't think about this until they're in that situation where they're backing up. All right, just stand there, backing up. And then they fall into the water or something behind them. You know, you've seen it on YouTube, you've seen it. There's very little difference in the S Pen usage between these two, other than the fact that this thing has a gyroscope and you can do some Harry Potter looking stuff, which I'll never do. Secondarily, the other thing that I think is kind of cool is the AR doodles for people that are into that sort of thing. Now, they really push this for creators. I'll be pushing that too. I'll definitely be testing that out because I'm gonna tell you something. This thing is great for some creation, but that video editor on here, But let's look at some camera samples because, to be perfectly honest, minus the wide angle lens, the videos and pictures look pretty much the same. Can you tell a difference? I'm not gonna tell you which one is which. I think it's important for you to see how similar they are, to understand that there's not a lot of difference. The camera hardware itself hasn't changed very much, minus the actual widescreen being open and of course the time of flight camera that's on the back. But other than that, they're really similar. They're gonna have to change that next year because as good as the camera is, you do want some upgrades. This thing costs like $300 more than when the Note 9 launched. Like it's way too much and you're not getting a better camera, you're just getting some cooler software. Now, as far as the Galaxy Note 10 Plus and the battery life, if you can't get through an entire day on this thing, you must be using it all the time, which is fine because now you have the option of buying a 45-watt charger for this thing. First of all, do not charge your phone every single night with that. You're gonna ruin the battery on this thing. But it does give you one extra option, and that is hours of usage on just minutes of charge. Like we're talking minutes, 15 minutes, you got a little bit of time, plug in, you're good for the rest of the day. That's crazy. It's a tremendous amount of power and something that real power users need. So for someone who's professional, something like this actually makes a lot of sense because not only do you get things like DeX and the S Pen and that sort of cool stuff that you can do, but also the ability to charge back up very quickly, which is, you know, pretty critical, especially for people that do a lot of traveling. So the question is, which one should you buy? All right, so to me, this actually comes down to a couple of things. Number one, how much money do you got? I'm not trying to be funny, that's actually a real question because for the most part, dollar for dollar, the Note 9 takes it every single time. This thing is too new. The Note 10 Plus is too new to get any kind of significant deal unless you did the trade-in. You're gonna get this for a really good deal. Pretty much no matter where you get it from, you're gonna get a good deal on this. And pound for pound, the Note 9 is it. I think the best way to think of it is this. If you're a power user, someone who games a lot, likes a big screen, someone who needs the cutting edge, someone who uses their phone for business, like almost exclusively, does most of their business on their phone, then the Note 10 Plus actually makes a lot of sense. The battery life, the power, DeX, like all of these great features make sense for those type of people. But I believe that's a very small portion of people. I believe the vast majority of people would be better served with the Galaxy Note 9. However, if you're one of those kind of almost creator people where you have a lot of Instagrams or you take a lot of pictures, you need some wide angle, you like to doodle things, okay, the Note 10 Plus is definitely for you, but the amount of money you have to spend above and beyond the Note, I just feel like you can just download some apps to bridge the gap. And some of the features like the DeX that can be plugged into a computer, I'm positive are coming to the Note 9. So that gap's gonna shrink even more. They've actually done this a lot. Samsung has brought a lot of the software tricks that they bring on the new phones back to their old phones, which is great. However, gives you less reason to upgrade. And I totally believe that's what's gonna happen. The Note 9 after the next software update, I believe is gonna be incredibly close to the Note 10 Plus. Both excellent phones, but for different reasons. The Note 10 Plus may end up being the phone of the year in 2019, but that price tag is gonna be the one thing that people will bring up time and time again. Forget about the headphone jack, forget about that. The price tag is the thing that may keep it from being phone of the year. Because there's so many great phones out there right now for a lot less money. I actually did a video about that, you can check it out. So tell me what you would think below in the comment section. Would you pick the Galaxy Note 9 in 2019 over the Note 10 Plus? I know some of you won't, so just tell me in the comments below why. And like I always say, we'll figure it out, but I'm right. If this video helped you out in any way, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if it didn't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I'm here every single week, having a blast. Hope to see you again real soon. Peace and love, peace and love. Woo, baby, go!